I tried to explain to the one that had arrested me, we have a ticket, we've got to get on that plane in just a couple of hours and go to Bangkok. And he had answered to me, impossible. There's only one man in this country that can get you on that plane, and he is the invisible man. Now, I don't know what he meant by that. I suppose it meant that he's hard to find. I don't know what he meant, but that's what he said. Anyhow, here come this distinguished looking man that had been on our ship, and he hardly spoke to us. He did say hello, but he fell in love with Brenda. Brenda was only 5 years old. She had blonde hair and blue eyes and was extremely outgoing. She talked to everyone, and he and her had sit in chairs on the deck and had talked the entire trip to Manila. He loved Brenda. And when Brenda seen him, she run right straight to him in that airport. And he said, what are you people doing in the Philippines? Well, I had no idea he could help, but I explained to him. He reached, took the passports out of my hand, walked behind the desk, predated them 8 days and stamped all 3 of them with a visa and said, get on the plane. He was the invisible man. Hey, hey, hey. And when he did that, the guy that had arrested me looked at me and he said, incredible, incredible. And by this time I was feeling pretty cocky. So I looked back to him and I said, incredible, incredible. Well, they had already taken away the stairs to the plane, and they had to reopen the door and push the stairs up and get us on. And back in those days, everybody dressed sharp when they was flying on an airplane. Today, they look like they jump out of bed and wear their pajamas to the airport. But not then. But Shirley and I and Brenda were the first worldwide hippie travelers. I had no suit coat. I was wearing a sports shirt and the same pants for 8 days. And she was wearing the same dress. We had washed it out every day. It used to be blue. I don't know what color it was by that time. Anyhow, we got on that plane and we flew to Bangkok. And when we arrived in Bangkok, we held to the back of the line to be as inconspicuous as possible. And so when we finally got up to immigrations and the authorities, they were dressed in white uniforms, sharp as they could be, brass on their hats and their shoulders, and they looked us up and down, and believe me, they were not impressed. And finally, he said to me, where is your luggage? I said, right here, one little overnight kit. He said, how much money do you have to declare? I said, I have $1. I was too proud to tell the missionary I didn't have any money, and I only had $1 single in my pocket. And I didn't tell the missionary about it at all. He probably couldn't have done nothing about it anyway. But anyhow, he said, just how long do you want to stay here? I said, 4 years. He said, I think we have a problem. He said, I'm going to give you a short tourist visa, and then you must go to immigrations and work this out. Well, I had baptized a man in America who had a parochial school in the middle of Bangkok of over 2,000 students, but I couldn't even think of his name. I couldn't pronounce his name. His name was Bunmark Gittisan Watanajan, and I couldn't think of it. I couldn't spell it, and I didn't have a telephone number or anything. And Bangkok was a city of 4 million people. And I did not know where to go. We had no address, nothing. Everything was in the suitcase on the ship. And I told Shirley, I know he doesn't live here at this airport. And with and I had seen pictures of his parochial school. And so for $1, in those days, we could get on the shuttle bus for 50 cents each, and Brenda was young enough, she didn't have to pay. So we just had enough money. And they delivered all of the passengers to the hotels, and the man that was driving the shuttle couldn't speak one single word of English, not one word. And the tour guide, she could speak English, but not enough to understand my situation. She couldn't comprehend why I didn't tell her where to go and why I didn't get off of that bus. She couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't make her understand what had happened. And finally, after everyone was delivered, she said to me, "Where you go?" I said, "I don't know where I go." I was sitting watching out the windows trying to see that school. I had seen the picture of that school. and finally she said, "I can't drive you all day." I said, "Well, I don't know what to do." She said, "Well, I go airport." I said, "Well, I go airport too." And she said something to him in Thai that I would understand perfectly. Now, I speak Thai very fluent, but I didn't understand a word in those days. And she said something to him. He drove one single block, turned one block to the right, and there was that school in the middle of 4 million people. Well, anyhow, we arrived in a little different way than they had expected us. And finally the day came when they were bringing us over to the school to introduce us to the students. But I was still wearing the same clothes. The Thai people are so tiny. They weigh a man weighs 130 to 50 pounds. Well, my Lord, one of my legs weigh more than that. There was nothing there for me to wear. I didn't have any money to buy it if they did have it. So we were still wearing the same outfits. But they said, "You must come and meet the school." And Mrs. Getty-san came to receive us, and she picked us up in this little Morris Minor car. Now, I don't know if you know what that is or not, but it is a car that's smaller than a Volkswagen. And she not only wanted me to get in it, but she wanted me to get in the back seat. And it was only 2 doors. So I tried. I had the door open, and the seat pushed up, Brother Tim. And I was trying to get in, and I heard something go rip. And I got in and sit down, and my wife got in and sit down beside me. She had heard it also. And she was as pale as a ghost. She wouldn't even look at me. But she said, "Did they?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "When I get out of this tin can, if I can get out, I want you to walk very close behind me." Yay. And so when we arrived, here is 2,000 kids standing at attention, waiting for the VIP to arrive. And when I started coming out of that Morris Minor car, those kids went absolutely bananas. They had never seen anything so huge in all of their life. I'm sure they was quite sure that I was from Mars or somewhere. They had never seen anything like me. And one kid got so carried away, he got down on his knees and beat the ground. Anyhow, we were taking this tour, and Sister Cole right behind me. And finally, I said to Mrs. Getty-san, "I have a problem." She says, "What is your problem?"